Right, so down here at the 7 o'clock position, we have our red Terran.
SuperNova.
SuperNova exploding onto the StarCraft 2 scene. I don't know if anyone got that pun out there. If you know what a supernova is, you might. Looking very calm and collected. Well, there's the APM. Just a second there. And our blue Protoss down in the 5 o'clock position. He is none other than the one, the only, otherwise known as Song Ho. He is
TSL Killer.
TSL Killer. Putting down his first gateway. So with the closest positions you can have in Shakira's Plateau, what do you think we're going to see from these players, Kelly?
We might see both players going for the back rocks of this game to reach each other. So very important to be not only the expanding, but also the positioning. Looks like we have a cheerful there. Oh my god.
That's pretty well done. Standing next to an igloo, I think, there. I don't know. Maybe that was back of Marine, I think.
That's a Nexus.
Oh, Nexus? I don't know. I couldn't tell at all. The screen was at an angle.
I think so.
I think Azelle would be very cold at the North Pole next to an igloo.
Well, I kind of am rooting for SuperNova this round because yesterday I was sitting beside him and watching him practice.
Oh.
He was doing so well. And I guess he's more than prepared for this map.
So he's trained hard. He's ready to go, training against...
Do you know how serious people look when they practice?
How serious?
Very serious.
I would imagine.
I mean, can you imagine practicing and you're smiling? I think that would be weird, but still, every time I watch people practice, I'm like, wow, you look so serious.
Yeah, well, this is the GSL. He knows that he's into the up and down matches. He knows he's confirmed for Code A next season. But still, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, you still want to come out and perform.
Yeah, because if you are first and second in Code A, you get to pick who you want to play against in the up and down. So everybody wants that. Everybody wants to have, wants to have a choice of who they want to play, who they are confident against for sure. Don't want to end up against your own teammate as well.
Yeah, it's actually a huge deal to be able to pick who you go against in the up and down matches, especially if you can pick someone like Polt Prime and maybe not have to pick someone like Marine King or I'm MVP.
That's right.
Yeah, this season, those first two spots are even more important than ever.
SuperNova actually showing that he's very experienced. He is patrolling his Marine around the place, searching for pylons that might be a sign of Fargate, building immediately a factory onto the tech lab, and having an expansion at the same time. So I guess we know what he's wanting to go for.
Yep. I'd say he wants to make sure that expansion is quite secure. Killer poking in a little bit with that Zealot and a probe. Reaper out on the field right now for SuperNova. He's going to do a little bit of scouting with that, I would imagine. And that Marine is in trouble. Run! Run!
Has to actually take the probe down because the probe can actually just come in, right-click on the mineral and get into the base. Looks like he might take down the SCV that is building the block at the moment. He does see... Does he see the expansion?
I think he does, yeah. He does see the expansion right now.
Sees the expansion and the factory at the same time.
At the same time, Reaper getting to the other base, but back at the front of SuperNova's base, these units still causing damage. This bunker may not get finished. Actually, it will almost get finished. Whoa, epic shot to Killer there. Back to the game. That supply depot is on fire right now. Bunker does finish, and Killer will have to pull back.
That was very close.
That was extremely close, actually. Wow.
Both players battling out in their mind. Should I go for the SCV? Should I go for the depot? Or should I go for the barracks?
Yep.
So
hard to pick.
Hard to pick.
SuperNova feeling the heat, though, early in the game. Doesn't want to get killed by Killer.
It's quite interesting that he goes for C-Shank this early in the game. Normally, most Terrans will open with a bio ball because that's what is strong against early game Protoss, which is your bio army. But he straight away goes for a C-Shank.
Well, I suppose we could see some sort of heavy mech play from SuperNova. I don't know, I haven't seen quite as many games from him as you possibly have, so maybe you can fill me in on that. He's getting his expansion down there, putting up another bunker. Meanwhile, back at the base of Killer, things progressing normally. Chrono boosting out those probes.
Has such an early Robo Bay for the Observer, and possibly a Colossus, which would be very strong against any bio army that SuperNova wants to pull out later on. But since he's going for a mech army, he's gonna be pretty stable for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder to do that early damage. But I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens. Both players, both very good, of course. Very evenly matched. I don't think you could really pick a favorite out of these two too much. Maybe a slight edge to Killer. But you said SuperNova, though.
Yeah, I kind of am rooting for SuperNova this time.
That's right.
You see Reactor going up for SuperNova, so it's interesting if he goes for pure Marine Siege, but I don't think that's what it's for.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see if he's going to switch that or not. Marine tank medevac isn't something you very commonly see against Protoss. Although he is also getting Banshees as well. No float kit, but this could be that typical... This actually is a little bit more common now that I notice that there's a starboard there. Can go for Banshees, tanks, Marines. Add in a Raven there. That's a very strong push against Protoss. Observer, though, is going to see all.
It'd be big if he spots the Banshee.
Yeah, and I think he did. Yeah, he did spot it there. So he's going to have a good idea of what's coming. Now, Killer also putting up a Twilight Council as well.
Well, it looks like Killer actually just wants to probe up. Normally we say drone up. Drone up sounds more natural than probe up.
It rolls off the tongue a little bit easier, doesn't it? Drone up. You can't really say SCV up either.
He's definitely going to go soon because he has 6 gates up at the moment. 3 are in building.
Getting that Robo Bay as well, though, so he does want to add some Colossus on there. Banshee for SuperNova, moving across the map now. It's going to come in and try to do some damage. Sees the Stalkers, turns around right away.
I think it's mostly for scouting though, because now he's going for a Raven. I mean, I love to see Raven play. Point defense drone, come on. So good to see that against Stalkers. It's actually very underused.
Well, nullifying those Stalkers is just huge early in the game. If you can push in like that, kind of turn off effectively half of the Protoss army while you do your damage.
Oh, he's getting Warp Prison though.
Yeah, Blink and a Warp Prism. Very interesting decisions right now by Songho, aka ESL Killer.
Looks like SuperNova is going to go ahead and go through the connector at the bottom of the map. Killer should spot that. Yeah, I like that. It's very good for Terran. That's actually one of the best places you can attack from.
Yeah, there's really no reason not to go through the middle like that. In the meantime, though, we do have a Banshee causing a bit of damage up where ideally the third base for Killer will eventually be. Now Killer, though, moving in with a large group of Stalkers. He's going to be able to take down that bunker very quickly. Does pull back when the siege tanks begin to fire, though.
Has that one Raven up, and a Raven is going to make a difference. Stalker does manage to take the Banshee does at the back of the Natural over there, scouting what's going on, doing slightly a bit of harass, not really wanting to do much. That doesn't actually is going to be important to him. What he needs now is to swap his starport with his barracks, which has a reactor on, so he can produce a big amount of Vikings to counter the Colossus that is coming in from Killer.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really need to make a big Viking commitment if you're going to be going bio against Protoss, but it looks like he's going to siege up instead, and this is actually a really good position for SuperNova right now. Putting down an auto turret as well to keep up that vision on the high ground. Now that means he's not going to have enough for point defense drone, though. So that may come back to haunt him in the near future, but it's going to be very, very tough for Killer to attack into this.
Camera lens is up for Killer at the moment.
Rock's going down.
He's just waiting. I mean, the choke is better for Terran than for Protoss, so he can actually just come in right now. But he needs a couple more sentries though.
Yeah, he's going to want to be able to split that army up. He does have, it looks like, 2 sentries right now. But the rocks are down. We're going to see if SuperNova moves in right away or not. He's putting down a missile turret right away. I love that decision because not only does that do well against Colossus if it gets up, of course, but it also scouts for any sort of observers or DTs that might come in as well. So SuperNova
claiming his territory.
Really good. Yeah, really using the ability of siege tanks to sort of reshape the map into his own image, so to speak.
I love that he's so confident using siege tank against a Protoss player, for sure. I'm getting a lot of Zealots to tank the shots from not only the tanks.
Yeah, this is so cool from SuperNova, but here comes Killer. Those Zealots do have charge, moving in, taking out those 2 bunkers almost instantaneously. Colossi coming in and firing down at the Marines on the ramp. They're all getting roasted so fast. Point defense drone is down. Killer has to pull back, though. There was just too many tanks. And now with the Army tab being 124 to 90.
He's worried. Look at that. Look at his face.
Extremely worried. I'd be worried too.
The only bad thing about SuperNova Army right now is it's not as mobile as Killer's Army.
Yeah, that's right. Killer trying to do some damage here.
Has to be careful not to lose his Viking and his Raven, which are so important. Coming in to snipe the Colossus because most of the Stalkers are taken now by the Siege Tank. He's coming in, trying to be aggressive. More Stalkers are coming in.
Yeah, a couple Stalkers driving back those Vikings. But that does allow SuperNova to edge even closer, putting down another bunker there. Killer in huge trouble right now.
Do you think he should have went for a counter attack earlier?
Yeah, actually I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't follow through with that attack a little bit earlier at the natural of SuperNova. He needed to defend this. I mean, really at best he was going to have to hope for a base trade, I suppose. But I don't know. It's going to be very, very tough for Killer to come back.
Well, it looks like SuperNova is going to go for Blue Wave Harriers and it's going to do so much damage to the mineral lines if he does manage to get through. Stalkers coming in, trying to snipe the Vikings on the field. That is not going to happen because there are so many Siege Tanks out on the ground at the moment. Killer says GG.
GG.
Wants to go for the next round.
SuperNova blowing up like a star over Killer. I don't know if that analogy really worked. Killer does not look happy. And I wouldn't be either. And that really is one of the toughest positions to be in when you're facing that big siege tank line and you want to attack into it. You know that the longer you wait, the closer it's going to be to ending the game for you, but you just can't. You got to be careful with it. Killer, though.
That was actually...
tough position.
I mean, it's a bad position. He could have either kept up the aggro when he was at the natural earlier, or he could have went for a counter attack because his army was just kind of sitting there for a while at the point of time. And if SuperNova, if he took the risk, SuperNova might not have moved all the tanks. They were in a good position at low ground. So
yeah,
well,
he had the window of opportunity that Killer had there was so small that it's one of those things that it's so easy to miss even at this high level. So I don't know. We'll see. SuperNova came out on top game 1.
Yeah.
Game 2 though could be a different story.
Well, game 2 we are gonna go on. Let's see.
It's gonna be
Check my stat sheet.
Metalopolis. The old classic.
Well, the thing about this map is, as a Terran player, you can get a very early bio wall against a Protoss player very easily and just reinforce that constantly. And you have to be really good to be able to defend that. But we're going to go into game.
See you inside.
See you inside
The game.
the game.
We're not inside it. You guys will be, sort of.